After living in Mexico for a while now, there are still some things that catch me off guard. Some of these took months for me to understand, some still I haven't fully adjusted to, but here are 7 of them. Number 1, the concept of ahorita. It means anywhere from 5 minutes to 3 days from now. The first time I had a full understanding of this, I was in Mexico City waiting for a friend. We were supposed to meet for lunch at 1 o'clock. However, she had just told me as I arrived to the restaurant, estoy en camino, which means I'm on my way. Awesome. 30 minutes goes by. I contact her. I said, hey, how's it going? She goes, almost there. Another 30 minutes goes by. I'm looking for parking. Another 30 minutes go by. She finally enters and she's hugs and kisses and love and everything's fine. And I was so confused. I had been waiting an hour and a half from lunch. I even asked her several times if she wanted to cancel. Is she sure she wants to do lunch today? So that is a very common thing throughout. Mexican time is a thing here. It carries over to any sort of work person you're waiting for, the government, literally everybody. Being late is not a thing here. It's not an issue. Number 2, family comes first, always. Listen, the family obligations here, family comes before friends, family comes before sometimes work, sometimes a holiday. Literally, people will call in at random moments for the craziest situations that you wouldn't even imagine because it has to do with a family. There are hospital waiting rooms full of people and they're all there for one person. When a baby gets sick, it's not just the mother that takes it to the doctor, it's the father takes off work, the grandmother comes along, maybe a sister, a brother, a couple cousins. Family is huge here, and that is something on the other end of that. When you're sort of expecting something from somebody, just know that you are secondary in their relationship. Number 3, bureaucracy. The bureaucracy here is next level. If you go to any sort of government office or financial institution, be prepared to wait. Not only wait, doing anything official. Paperwork, utilities means multiple trips, physical copies, and a stamp from a guy who only works on Tuesdays. Or you have a specific piece of paper that's no longer valid. There will always be a line, there will always be a wait. If you're going to the bank, make sure you clear 2 hours out of your schedule because there's a good chance you could be waiting the full 2 hours to get the one little thing done that you need to. Point number 4, Spanish is not optional, even where you think you would expect it is. Even in tourist and heavy expat areas, Spanish is completely necessary. While the person you're dealing with might know enough English to be able to speak reasonably about the one little item you've got going on, your landlord, the police, pretty much everybody is everything else is going to be in Spanish, any sort of government appointment. And anytime you leave your little bubble, you're going to need Spanish. I was doing a home showing one day and the 2 people that I was showing the home to brought a friend along. She is someone that has been living in Vallarta for a long time. She's a snowbird, so she lives part-time of the year. We're doing the showing and she explains to them, oh, and don't worry about the Spanish. You won't need it. I've been here 28 years and have never needed to learn Spanish. That told me one thing about that woman. She had the money to pay someone to speak Spanish for her, or she simply lives a completely checked out life outside of the normal world here in Mexico. Spanish is 100% not optional. If you're gonna live here full time, I highly suggest learning at least the basics. Point number 5. Mexico isn't as cheap as people think. Okay, if we're talking about the entire country of Mexico and the entire country of the US, and you're comparing the two, yes, cost of living is less in Mexico in general. However, it depends on the specific area you're talking about. If we're speaking about Vallarta, Vallarta is quite a bit more expensive than a lot of areas in the US. I'm from Seattle, so the cost of living here is about half of what it is in Seattle. But if we're talking about Kansas City, it's about on par. Also, not only the cost of living, but things like electronics, name brand clothing are much more expensive, at least 20% or more expensive than you will find that same item in the United States. One small PSA on this. Please refrain from exclaiming loudly how cheap everything is when you're sitting at a restaurant table or just in public in general. It's considered very rude and insulting. I get it. You're super excited, you make $150,000 a year and you live in an expensive city and you just paid $20 for lunch and a drink. And that just makes you so happy you need to tell literally everybody at your table. Here's the thing. Some of the people in earshot make as much as your lunch costs in an entire day. So please refrain from doing that. It's rude. Point number 6, generosity is next level. Neighbors sharing food, strangers going out of their way to help with directions, or some problem you might be having like a flat tire, being invited to someone's home even after knowing them a few minutes. It's one of the things I personally love most about Mexico is the generosity of just the average everyday people around you. One of the most fun times I've ever had at a beach, I had friends visiting from Tepic and we went to the beach together. We put our little umbrella, our little chairs, our little cooler with the cervezas and the ceviche in it. Well, when we sat down, other people gathered around us at the same time. As the day went on, every single group of people was playing different music, so you just had to turn your head to whatever favorite music you wanted, and everyone was sharing their beers, their ceviche, their sandwiches, their tacos, whatever they had. Everybody was chatting and talking. It was one of the most fun times I've ever had at a beach. And finally, number 7, you start to measure life differently. There's something about the pace of life here that is just different. What the hell? There's something about the pace of life here that is just different, and it goes beyond kind of the slower ways of doing things. It's so ingrained into the everyday culture. And the perfect example I use for this, have you ever gone to work and maybe had your little Starbucks coffee or whatever, and you walk in, you're about 5 minutes late, and your boss says, "You're late, next time, forget the coffee or drink your coffee at home." Just her saying that in the morning sort of leads throughout the entire day and creates an overall anxiety. This carries over into the entire culture and eventually carries over into other parts of your life and your health, by the way. Here, it's not such a big deal. If you're late, you're late. If you do something that, is a little slower than another person, it's not a big deal. So things just kind of take a little longer and you learn to slow down, especially when talking about government issues and government offices. So which of these surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. For more real, unfiltered life in Mexico content, please subscribe and give me a like. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Have a great day.